Hello, thank you very much for tuning in. More about classical records. I'm going to be unboxing. I've had some eBay records sent to me. I've had records sent by an eBay seller. I bought them about 2 weeks ago. I knew I was going to be away from base for a little while, so um, I had them go to parcel point, and I just picked them up this evening when I got back. So I'm looking forward to opening those in front of you. Here they are. Here's the box. You know that I'm very kind of choosy and try only to choose interesting records when I buy on eBay, especially if I'm paying. Obviously on eBay one tends to pay more than in a charity shop, and if one is in a charity shop and the records are £1 each, you're always going to buy more than if, say, they were £3, £4, £5 each. Now I'll just very quickly say that while I was on my travels today, I stopped in two different towns, and I'll tell you where I stopped, because I drove from England up the M6 back to Scotland, and I decided to stop in Stoke and Newcastle under Lyme. The Stoke part I stopped in is Hanley, for any of you who know Stoke, and it was a wretched experience. I've lived there a few years ago, and I spent a year there, but this is before really I got back into records, and I couldn't remember how many charity shops there were, or whether there were places where you could buy records. I knew that there was one record shop in a sort of walk-through arcade, but I decided not to go in there. Basically because I didn't want to go in and end up buying something for £15 and £20 that, I could have got on eBay for probably less money. So I specifically went for the charity shops, and I was bitterly disappointed. I couldn't believe that it's quite a reasonable sized town centre, and there were not only hardly any charity shops, but the RSPCA have got a music and books. They've got a books charity shop, and they've got a music and film charity shop next door to it. So I went in there, and there were no classical at all. They were only pop, and they were priced, not that far off eBay prices. And to be honest with you, the condition was absolutely appalling. I did look at one or two that I was interested in, and they had scratches on them. I only lasted 10 minutes in there, and I just went away, got back to my car, and I was going to actually drive straight up the M6. Forget it. I didn't really have the appetite to look at any more charity shops after that experience. But I saw that Newcastle under Lyme was only 2 miles away. So I thought, what the heck. So I decided to drive to Newcastle under Lyme. I've been there a few years ago, and I couldn't remember much, but I did remember there were quite a few charity shops. And I parked up. I was absolutely amazed at how much bigger Newcastle under Lyme is as a shopping centre. It's like 2-3 times as many shops as Hanley, Stoke-on-Trent. So I started very quickly going around from one charity shop to the next, and I went in, you're not going to believe this, I went in about 10 charity shops. It's unbelievable. I went in 10 charity shops in about 40 minutes that I was there, and I only found some classical records in one of them. I found about maybe half a dozen that I might have been interested in at £1 each. They weren't priced up. I went to ask, how much are the records please? And they said they're £2 each for LPs and £1 each for singles. And I went back to look at the records that I picked out. There was only one there that I would pay £2 for, and that was an Itzhak Perlman record of concert encores, which I would have paid £2 for that, but the cover was kind of folded a bit and creased, and when I looked at the record and started holding it up to the light, there were some marks on it which may sound, may not sound, and I ended up just taking the whole lot and putting them all back. Now at £1 each, I'd have bought them all. I would have walked away with 6 records for £1 each. Okay, that Perlman wasn't. I would have taken it for £1, but for £2, it was going to have to be in really excellent condition, and it wasn't. The only other one that I kind of would like to have had was the Ellie Emeling Bach cantatas on Philips. That would have been a nice one to have. And then there were just some others which were not really that important. But the point is, I would have had 6 for £6. I was going to offer, in fact, say, look, I'll either take £6 for £6 or I'll take nothing. But when I saw the Pearlman not being in good condition, I became disheartened. I thought, well, I mean, it's only really worth taking the rest for £1 each if the Pearlman's in good condition, but it wasn't in good condition, and I didn't have the appetite and motivation to take any at all. So I just shoved the whole lot back, and I just left them. There was one record on Non-Such, which was some counter-tenor arias of Henry Purcell. That one looked sort of interesting. I wouldn't have minded having that for £1, and that was in good condition, but I wasn't prepared to go back and give them £2 for it. I think some of these charity shops need teaching a lesson that, you know, £2 is not going to work. It's got to be £1 each for people who are traipsing and spending time going to charity shops. Sell them for £1 each, and you shift them. If you sell them for any more than £1, £2, £3, you're going to be sitting on them forever. You're never going to sell them. Or you might sell one in a blue moon. Now, I actually had a message on WhatsApp. On my website, there's a possibility to send me a WhatsApp message. And I got a message from somebody in Yorkshire yesterday saying they've got thousands. They're a charity organisation, and they've got thousands of records. And what am I looking for? And I said, well, actually, I'm driving up north. I could stop by and I could look through your records, and I'll pick out what I want at £1 each. I mean, I'll just be straight up. That's what I do. That's how I do business. It's either £1 each or forget it. I can find, you know, records. I can get beautiful records on eBay for like £2, £3, £4. Why should I go to my trouble driving around the country and paying like £5, £6, £7 for LPs? I'm selling LPs for £3 or £4 that are better than most of the records that I see. So he came back and he said, our records start from £5 each. And I said, well, I'm not interested, good luck. And he came back and he said, I've got a box of rare classical records. I said, try eBay. And then I just left it at that. So I know what's going to happen. There's no market for classical records at £5 each selling from charity shops. No market at all unless they're like all wideband SXL stereos, white and golds, and then a local collector is going to come in and mop them all up. But for, you know, fairly common DGs, ASDs, etc., even narrowband SXLs, I can guarantee there's no market at £5 each in the charity shop business. There isn't. It's £1 each. £2 is stretching it. So yeah, so I had a wretched time with charity organisations, and I got nothing from Newcastle, got nothing from Stoke, I got nothing in Nottingham while I was around, absolutely nothing. And yeah, so yeah, not good, but you know, I've done well on other occasions, and I've still got a dozen or so which I need to make another video on, where I did do well a few weeks ago, and I want to show you what I got. But yeah, so it sort of blows hot and cold with charity shops, but no, it didn't do well, and I covered a lot of ground as well. At least I got some exercise. Okay, so without further ado, let me just open these up, because a lot of you are going to be annoyed that I've been ranting on about charity shops overcharging, etc. Oh, and by the way, while I was in Nottingham, I went into the British Art Foundation, and the records were in a place where nobody could see me. So nobody could see me get my mobile phone out, and I could record without being watched. And the reason for that is I could not believe the prices on those records, and you're going to be absolutely amazed at the ignorant pricing. I'm going to make another video fairly soon. That one is worth seeing. I'll tell you, you will not believe the prices. You'll be laughing your heads off when you see some of the prices that some, you know, ignoramus has put on those. And I can't believe that whoever priced those records up went to eBay, because there were records there that, well, actually no, I tell a lie. You can see like a mono concert hall, somebody's asking £10 for it. Yeah, you can see that. So no, I take that back. Whoever priced those up probably did go to eBay. So here's an ARC record, or a Richmond mono. Oh, somebody's asking £15 for that. This isn't the same music, but this is the Brandenburg Concertos, and that's Tchaikovsky's Violin Concerto. But what the heck? This is probably worth £15 as well. Yeah, and I must say that shop where I did the video recording, I'd been in there before, and I'd already seen a lot of these silly prices, and nothing sold. Everything was exactly as it was. From what I remember, all the records that were there are still there, and they will continue to be there. It's all right. I mean, they want to just sit on them and never sell them. Okay, so now I'm really interested in European records. So I've got a collection of mainly British LPs and some American pressings. I've got Finlandia, I've got Finnish pressings, and I'm really interested in building up my collection of quality European records. I've got Eurodisc, and you know, that's really somewhere that a lot of British collectors don't. They disregard Europe for some reason. I don't know why, because they got some fabulous artists, and the pressings. Well, I'm going to be assessing those. So let me just tell you what I bought here, because I noticed that somebody was selling some Hungarian records. Now, the just like Melodia was the national Soviet record company, all the Iron Curtain states like Czechoslovakia, they've got Supraphon. Poland, I'm not too sure what they're, or is it? Czechoslovakia is Supraphon. Yeah, it is, of course. Poland, I'm not sure what it is. Is it Muzio, perhaps? And I'm sure that Romania's got their own label. Well, Hungary have got their own label. I don't know if it's still going, but Hungaroton is the equivalent of Supraphon in Hungary. Now, Hungary is one of the star countries in Europe, not just in Europe, but the world for classical music. They're only a relatively small nation of 10 million people, but for the composers and the quality of the performers that they've produced, they, for me, are sort of right up there, probably just behind Russia. And their orchestras, conductors, etc., par excellence. So I was really interested in Hungaroton. I lived in Hungary in the 90s for a year, and I'm familiar with Hungaroton already. And I did have some, but I don't know what happened to them. Let me just go through what I've bought, okay, without further ado. So, so that's Dejo Ranki. I think that's probably how you pronounce it. ZS in Hungarian is J. SZ is S. Okay, so Dejo Ranki. I think it's the pronunciation. That's Chopin, 4 scherzos. Great picture of him there. Now, when I was in Hungary and I was saying, oh, Geza Anda and, you know, András Schiff, they're the great Hungarian pianists. My friend who I was with said to me, well, actually, they're not regarded as the top in Hungary. They're regarded as like 3rd and 4th. And this guy, apparently, Dejo Ranki, is regarded as the best by Hungarians. He's regarded as the best pianist that Hungary produced in the 20th century. I mean, better than Annie Fischer and all of the others, or at least this is what some people told me. This is an opinion, of course, but these were the vibes I was getting from people when I was in Hungary. And I didn't actually hear him play because he was there in the Budapest Philharmonia or something, and there was a performance going to start, and somebody said, yes, you know, that's it, and they said that he's famous, and it was him, it was this chap. Although when I saw him, he was older than this. It was like 20 years later. This, I think, is a 70s LP. So yeah, there's the label. The label looks a bit kind of plain, but it doesn't matter, does it really? It's the music and everything, and I mean, the condition looks okay there. I think that's going to be, what date have we got on it? 1977. So that is going to be obviously analog. It's not going to be digital. So yeah. Now I'll give some feedback on these once I've had a listen to them. I might even make a video. In fact, they've even got the price on here. The price in Hungarian, 70 forint. Now, when I was in Hungary in the 90s, let me see now, I think that 40 forint was £1. So 70 forint. I don't know how much money that would have been in the 70s, but okay. So yeah, that one looks interesting. Yeah, no, people commenting on me. I shouldn't be throwing records onto the sofa. Okay, here's the next one. Now, Hungarians are really big where Mozart is concerned. I've heard Hungarians orchestras play Mozart, and above many other nations, they seem to understand him and know how to play him more than most. I've always really been satisfied with Mozart performances when I was in Hungary and when I've heard Hungarian performances of Mozart. So yeah, Eine kleine Nachtmusik on this Serenata Notturna and the Divertimento K136 and the Great Adagio and Fugue K546. It's the Liszt Ferenc Chamber Orchestra of Budapest, and it's János Rolla. Yeah, S is pronounced sh. János Rolla. Yeah, so this is digital recording, same label, 1982 by the way. So that's interesting because I think that Melodia got into digital recording much later, 1982. Yeah, digital recording. It's got an insert with it explaining, about the music and everything, and it's in English and it's in Hungarian too. So that's interesting because I've never seen Hungaraton records for sale in England, never, and I don't think that. I think they're really just. I think maybe for probably tourists visiting and seeing records in shops, but this almost looks like it's made for an export market because it's sort of English on the front, isn't it? Okay, good. Let's just put that down carefully. Okay, well, I mentioned Annie Fisher. Now, there's a 33CX of Annie Fisher playing K4. What is she playing? No, K467. Yeah, and on this record, we've got Annie Fisher playing with the Budapest Symphony Orchestra. She's playing Mozart's great piano concerto number 20, K466 in D minor, and the piano rondo K382. So that looks interesting. Yeah, that is 1977, so that's going to be analog. Yeah, I look forward to hearing that. These have all got fairly sort of plainish covers, but it doesn't really matter, does it? This one's kind of laminated almost, it's sort of shiny. Okay, let's keep going. Okay, we've got Kodai. This one's a bit more colourful, this jacket, I quite like that. And we've got the Peacock Variations, Galanta Dances, and the Marosek Dances. Budapest Symphony Orchestra with George Lehel. All Hungarian music, all Hungarian performers. That should be good. Is that digital? Probably not. It's got the insert in, which is nice to see. And that's 1981. It doesn't say digital, so I'm presuming that it's analog. Okay. So now, I partly enjoyed buying these because I knew they'd be good, but also because I like it when sellers group together records, like, in this case, 5 Hungaratons. The shipping was only £5, and, I've only paid about sort of £3 each for these or something, or £3.50 each. And, delighted to get them. So the shipping doesn't hurt if you're buying 5 records and the shipping cost is £5. Okay, the last one. This is a double album. Yeah, this is a double album. It's Schumann 3-string quartet, and it's the great Takács quartet, one of the best string quartets to come out of Hungary or indeed Europe. So, now, I mean, the Hungarian quartet and the Budapest quartet, you will find them predominantly on Western labels like Philips, American Columbia. What else? Well, okay, you get the point. My mind's gone blank. But the Takács quartet, you don't often see them record on anything but Hungaraton. They are really good string quartet. So this is a gatefold of the three Schumann quartets. Now, I don't really know the Schumann quartets, to my shame, so this will be a good way maybe to discover them. There's a nice picture there on the back. It's an all-male group, and let's have a look at the record. 1981. So again, it's not digital, it's analog, which I'm pleased to see. Pleased. Yes, I do prefer analog. I don't want to get into that debate too much. I enjoy digital as well, and I've got no problem at all with digital LPs, but I was glad to see that this one is analog and not digital. So yeah, that's it. I'll give some feedback then on these, and maybe even play some bits and pieces from them. So if any of you guys have got any comments about European records and what you collect, and whether you've got the same interest in me in terms of discovering more from European record labels, I'd be very interested to know. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.